Now, Black Death, or the bubonic plague, comes from the bacterium Yersinia pestis, and it gets its name from a common symptom, which are swollen lymph glands that form black pus-filled boils that are called buboes. These are usually seen in the armpits and groin. Now, its other symptoms include fever, chills, headaches, shortness of breath, hemorrhaging, vomiting, delirium, and often death. Now, plague presents in three different forms. The first and most common is the bubonic form, which I've talked about above and which affects the lymphatic system, and it's the most survivable. The second, septicemic plague, is an infection of the blood, and it's much more dangerous, as it leads to clots forming throughout the blood vessels, which can lead to gangrene of the extremities and failure of the heart, brain, and lungs. The few victims that survive this are often severely disfigured. Now, unlike the other two forms, which are thought to be spread by fleas, the final form, pneumatic plague, is spread through aerosolized droplets, and it infects the lungs and causes pneumonia-like symptoms. Now, it's a truly horrific infection because it has a nearly 100% fatality rate if untreated, and it can kill within 36 hours of initial infection. Now, bubonic plague has haunted humanity since prehistoric times. However, there have been three great outbreaks in the West: the Justinian's plague in 540, the Black Death starting in 1347, and the Great Plague of the 1660s. Now, minor outbreaks, particularly in less developed regions, continue to sporadically pop up, though the use of doxycycline and tetracycline have made it much easier to treat. Now, there's a great deal of controversy about where the Black Death originated. What is known is that in 1346, a brawl broke out between a group of Italian merchants and a group of Muslims in the Genoese trading outpost in the city of Tana. The Italians withdrew back to their port city of Caffa, and the Khan, Johnny Beg, who oversaw the region, took offense at the outrage that the Italian traders had inflicted on his people. He ordered his troops to lay siege to the port until these Mongols were overtaken by disease. Now, legend states that the desperate Beg threw the bodies of both the living and dead over the walls, thus infecting the city, though it's more plausible that rats simply crossed over from the Mongol camp into Caffa itself. Now, in May of 1347, the merchants began to flee the city on ships, carrying the plague westward. By early summer, the affliction had reached Constantinople, where it killed a reported 90% of the population. By October, the merchants docked in Sicily, where they were chased off at the port of Messina. However, there was enough time for a few rats and sailors to slip ashore and infect the city. Over the next year, as Sicilians fled to the Italian mainland, they began to carry the disease up the peninsula, killing off about one-third of the population of southern Italy. The next month, in November, the Caffa ships docked in Marseille. This time they were able to go ashore and quickly spread the malady throughout southern France. Then, in January of 1348, another group of merchants docked in Genoa, carrying a different strain of the disease. And while they were again driven off, there was enough time for the affliction to hop ashore, and soon Italy was fighting two different strains on two fronts. Now, while the ships had been carrying the scourge from the east to the west, infected merchants simultaneously carried the contagion back eastward. Throughout the early spring, the disease spread throughout the eastern Mediterranean, then into Egypt and finally Persia. Cyprus, which had also been hit with an earthquake and tidal wave that spring, was particularly hard hit. The contagion then spread throughout Eastern Europe, moving northward from Greece to Bulgaria, Romania, Western Russia, and eventually Poland. Now, with its importance as a center for trade, it wasn't long before Venice would be hit. There was, however, an organized response to the disease, with taverns being closed, wine from unknown sources being destroyed, and ships that harbored victims of the disease being burned. There was, as always, widespread resistance to these measures, and 60% of the population ended up succumbing to the affliction. That April, the plague raged through southern France, and word spread that the plague was caused by the Jews poisoning the wells. This led to the first series of pogroms in Provence, in which case 40 Jews were murdered. That June, the plague arrived in England at Dorset. The terror associated with the disease had already preceded it, and the frightened population spread inland, providing a vector for the spread of the infection. By the middle of summer, 20% of London's population lay dead. And at the same time on the continent, the plague began to move into Paris and then the Low Countries. That summer, as the plague burned through Germany, flagellants, or groups of hooded religious zealots, sprang up. Now, half naked, they would travel from town to town, singing and thrashing themselves with whips. They were also known for their violent anti-Semitism, and they often instigated the local population to murder more Jews. Eventually, they grew so troublesome that the church sent inquisitors to violently suppress these rampaging mobs, and the flagellants were largely wiped out within a year. Now, in response to the growing anti-Semitism, King Casimir III of Poland offered refuge to the persecuted Jews of Western Europe. And this led to a mass migration into Poland and Lithuania. And these communities would form a major part of Polish culture until the 20th century, when they were wiped out by the Nazis. Throughout the fall of 1348, the plague worsened in England. Edward III, who'd lost his daughter to the disease, blamed garbage and human excrement for the problem, and he ordered the city of London and the Thames River to be cleaned up. At the beginning of 1349, the outbreak showed little sign of abatement. On Valentine's Day in Strasbourg, 2,000 Jews were burned alive, and a month later in Mainz, Christians overcame and slaughtered another 3,000. In March, Scottish soldiers along the English border began to flee homeward, taking the outbreak with them, and 1/3 of Scotland perished. In July of that year, an English ship carried the sickness to Norway, Denmark, and Sweden. Now, the King of Sweden came up with a plan to staunch the plague, using dewormers and UV lights. I'm just kidding. His more sensible idea was to ban the wearing of shoes on Sunday. By 1351, the plague began to disappear, though echoes of it would reappear in 1361, 1369, and 1374. Now, with the deaths of between 25 and 50 million people, which was about half of Europe's population, drastic social changes began to occur. There was a general shortage of labor, which led to higher wages and a better standard of living for the peasantry. And this in turn led to the development of the middle class, which would eventually be one of the causes for the end of feudalism. Now, the church's inability to curb the plague also led to a greater sense of skepticism, which was a factor that influenced both the Reformation and the Renaissance. Now, this week's game is Black Death, published by Blacksburg Tactical Research Center in 1993, and its designer was Greg Porter. To set the game up, each player begins the game by deciding what type of disease they're going to play, and they choose a type of microbe marker to represent this. Now, diseases have two statistics, virulence and mortality, and the player assigns a number between 1 and 5 to each of these statistics, in such a way that the total sum of the two statistics equals 6. You then place a microbe marker on the disease rating chart at the point where virulence and mortality cross. Now, the higher the virulence, the more people are likely to catch the disease, and the higher mortality, the more likely they are to die from it. So diseases with a virulence of 1 are tough to catch, but very lethal. They have a mortality of 5, and they make it hard to establish a presence on the map. Diseases of a virulence of 5 will spread like wildfire and can reach maximum density quickly, but won't kill many people because their mortality rating is 1. Now remember that the winner is determined entirely by body count, so having pieces on the board does very little good. Next, each player places one of their markers on the 0 space of the millions served track, and this track represents how many millions of souls have perished due to each player's disease. Next, you determine the turn order for the first turn, and each player rolls a die, and the player with the highest die roll places one of their markers on the first box of the order of play. The next higher player will go second, and so on, and you can re-roll for ties. Now, randomized turn order only takes place in the first turn. In every turn thereafter, the player with the lowest current body count takes the first phase, and the second lowest body count gets the second phase, and so on. Now, in case of a tie, which happens quite often in this game, the player with the fewest units on the map gets to go first. If there's any further ties, these can be resolved with a die roll. Next, each player draws an event card, and they keep this hidden for later use. And finally, each player begins their turn by placing 2 of their disease markers on the map in any region adjacent to an off-map route on the east edge of the map. Now, these regions are Damascus, Moscow, Jerusalem, and Al-Qahira, or Cairo. Now, each turn is divided into 4 phases: a luck determination phase, an infections phase, a movement phase, and a mortality determination phase. So beginning with the luck value determination, in the first turn of the game, every player determines their infection chances equal to their mortality score, and the number of movement points equal to their disease virulence. And these are unadjusted by events. Now, in the second and subsequent turns, each player rolls 2d6, and they assign 1 roll to infection chances and 1 roll to movement points. Now, the second phase, the player attempts to infect areas. Now, any of the current player's units on the map can attempt to infect adjacent empty regions. And this includes any other squares within the same multi-square region as the infecting unit, as well as any square within an adjacent region that's connected by a line of communication. Now, each attempt uses up 1 of the player's infectious chances, determined in the previous phase, and a single unit may make more than 1 infection attempt. Now, to succeed, a player has to roll 1 die, and if they get equal to or less than that disease's virulence, plus or minus any modifiers for lines of communications or targeted regions. Now, a roll of 1 is always a success, and a roll of 6 is always a failure, regardless of virulence or modifiers. And failed attempts can be repeated if a player has enough infection attempts remaining. Now, on a successful infection, you place 1 of the player's counters on the new region. Players can also attempt to infect another player's units, converting the infected population to their own disease. And this is done like any other infection attempt, but it takes an additional -1 to virulence on top of all other applicable modifiers. If the infection is successful, the opposing player's counter goes back into the owner's stockpile, and it's replaced by one of the attackers. Now, in addition to normally rolled infection attempts, a player may give up one of their infection attempts to get a +1 on the first infection attempt of the following turn. Now, this player must have at least 2 infection attempts available to do this, and the +1 modifier is cumulative with any other modifiers on any rolls. Next, the player moves their diseases. With each movement point, the player can move any unit, even another player's, one region along a line of communication. But whenever a line of communication is used, its absolute value, if any, is added to the cost of the movement. Now remember that the modified numbers within squares don't affect movement. They only modify infection attempts. Modifier numbers on lines of communications affect both infection attempts and movement. And remember that movement modifiers always make movement more costly. Now each unit can be moved a maximum of 1 region per turn, unless a special card is played, and units may never move to any square that's already occupied. Also, moving a unit to a different square within a multi-square region counts as 1 movement point. And for purposes of moving into or out of these multi-square regions, all of the squares in the region share all of the lines of communications connecting that region. Now, a unit can be moved off the map via any of the open-ended lines adjacent to some regions. When they do so, they're returned to the owner's stockpile, and moving a unit off the map always costs 2 movement points. Now, during the first turn only, no player can move or infect another player's units unless necessary to get on the map as described in the exceptions. And in this case, infecting another player's units is handled in the normal fashion. The 4th phase of the player's turn is the mortality phase. After the current players finish their movement phase, they roll 1 die on the death results table, and they cross-index this with the column that represents the mortality of their disease. Now, the result of this is the fraction of that player's units on the board that kill off a population of victims. And these disease counters are removed from the board and put back into the owner's stockpile. And the player then increases the body count on the million serve track for every one of these counters that's removed. Now, remember that the fractions given in the death results table always round down. So a player with 8 units on the map who rolled a 1/3 DRT result would lose 2 units, not 3. If the DRT result has an asterisk, the disease's mortality was so high in one region that the area falls into ruins and is no longer inhabitable. Now, this is a catastrophic kill, and it can only happen in multi-square regions. And you place one of the skull and crossbones counters on the square from which that unit was removed, and thereafter, for all game purposes, that square no longer exists. Now, a multi-square region can have up to half, rounded up, of its squares taken out of play in this manner, but no region can be totally ruined. And if the death result table result was a cure, the player gets no kills. Worse, the player who's next in the turn order gets to remove 1 and 6, rounded down, of the cured player's diseased units from the map. And these are returned to the owner's stockpile of counters, and they don't add to that player's body count. Now, if, by some quirk of fate, the player getting the cure also goes next, they don't remove any of their own counters. Once a player finishes their turn, play passes to the next player, and after all players have gone, the next turn begins, players determining a new turn order, as I've detailed above. Now, if at any point all players' counters are completely wiped off the map, they can attempt to re-enter the map via an enter-map route, using the normally rolled number of infection chances. Now, 20 event cards are included in the game, with every player drawing 1 at the start. When a player achieves a body count of 5 million victims, they draw another card. When they reach a body count of 10 million victims, they draw another. And when they reach a body count of 15 million, they can draw a 4th. Now, these cards can be played at any time and on any other player, unless the card specifies otherwise. And card effects usually last until the person who played their card goes again. Now, the instant any player achieves the game's body count goal, they've won the game, and they become the most famous historical scourge of the Middle Ages. For 2 to 3 players, the body count goal is 20 million. For 4 to 5 players, the body count is 15 million. And for 6 players, the body count goal is 10 million. Alrighty, folks, I'm back this week with Black Death. And I've got everything kind of set up here, and I'll just kind of lead you through the setup. I've got my stylized map of Europe here, and I've set up some of my units on the edge. I got 3 players. I've got these rods, I've got the cocci, which are the little dots, and I got the filaments. And each of those players bacteria will get 2 units on the edge of the map board. Now, I think it's edge of the map board, but the rules are a little unclear whether they're actually on the spaces or whether they're at the edge. But it's kind of fun with the edge because you can actually kind of jostle for control to get on, which is kind of cool. Okay, most of the action in this game occurs right here. And this tells you it's the disease rating chart, which tells you how dangerous the disease is and how quickly it spreads. And each disease has a mortality rating and a virulence rating, and those have to add up to 6. So I started here with the rods, which have a mortality rating of 5 and a virulence of 2. So they're a pretty deadly disease, but they spread slowly. Cocci are in the middle. They've got a mortality of 4, virulence of 3. And then the filaments have a mortality of 3 and a virulence of 4. So not quite as dangerous, but they spread a little more rapidly. I've got my million served markers here. This is just your victory track. And they're set at 0. And then during the first turn, I randomize order to play. Second turn will be based off of who's ahead, but first turn is special in that you go off of randomization. So let's roll for each. We'll start with the Cocci, and they get a 7. The rods will try with a 7, so those two are tied. And then the filaments are at a 6, so let's roll between the rods, have it roll off between the rods and the Cocci. Rods get a 7, Cocci get a 7, do it again, rods get a 6, and Cocci get a 4. So let's put rods first, Cocci second, and filaments third. And then final thing to do is draw some event cards, which I've got here, and those can't be played during the first turn, so those won't matter. But as the game progresses, they will come into play, and I have a hard time remembering what they do, so I went ahead and set the PDF here so I can cheat. When one of those comes around, we'll look it up. Okay, I think everything's good to go. Again, this is first turn, so it's a little bit special. In this turn, the chances to infect are based off of mortality. And so basically the Cocci, or the rods here, will have 5 chances to infect, and we'll need a 5 or less to do so. And then virulence during the first turn will give you the number of moves they can make during their second phase. After that, it'll change up a little bit. Those will be randomized. But okay, so let's start with the we'll start with those the rods, and they have 5 chances to infect and 2 moves, and I went ahead and got some little cubes here that I'm using. So if you hear rattling around, that's what I'm using to keep track of that with. Okay, so let's get started infecting. We'll start here and trying to infect Moscow. Now, I would need normally a 5 or less in this case to infect, and there's a +1, so it would be a 6 or less, but 6s are automatically a failure, so it's just going to remain a 5 or less. So let's do that. Let's roll. As long as I get anything, not a 6, I'll be okay. So we put 1 here. And remember, these don't move, they divide. So that's our first one. Let's try it down at Cairo. Same thing. And I infect Cairo. Okay, that was 2. I'll try Jerusalem. Now this time I need a 5 or less. So that's a 3. So he infects here. And then Damascus, I'll go again the same thing, and I get a 1, so that's an infection. And then Constantinople, we'll do the same thing. I'm trying to basically block, and I get a 2, so that works. Okay, everybody's blocked in there. Moves, I'm going to go 1 and 2 to bring him on. And that's it for the movement phase. Now we do a death roll. And pretty simple. Mortality is going to be a 5. So I'm going to use the 5 column here on the right, the right. And I roll a mortality roll, and I get a 1, which is bad or it's good, I guess. The lower you roll, the better it is for your disease. And this is a half with an asterisk. Now, the asterisk means that when I'm going to pull half of these off, rounded down, and that those areas are going to be uninhabitable. So I'll put a skull marker on it. Now the areas I can pull from have to be these multiple, these big cities here. So I can't leave a area like Jerusalem. I can't kill off. So okay, so I think I'll pull this guy. Let me see. Oh, and this, as I said, half. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I have to pull 3. It's actually a pretty good roll. 1. 2, and we'll just go I'll do Damascus 3. Okay, Took off some of those nice +1s, which that's always kind of bad for your other players, but okay, and I pulled 3, so that means that 3 million people died. So that puts the rods ahead by that much. Okay, I think that's it for the rod's turn. Now the Coxeye go, and they've been kind of blocked a little bit, so they have 4 shots and need a 4 or less, and then they can move 3. Okay. So we'll try to get on here. Now, they're going to need a 4 or less to get on. It's pretty straightforward. So we roll and get a 2, so that's good for that one. Here, I'm going to roll to get on a Damascus, and I get a 5, so that doesn't work. Try it again. 5, nope. And I get 1 more chance. And I got a 3, so that's going to put me on here. Okay. Now I can make my moves. I have 3 moves. So I'm going to go 1, 2, and that's all the 3. I can move Novgorod. This would cost me 2 to move, so I can't move there. So that's all I can do for moves. And then we're going to roll for mortality. I've got mortality of 4, so it's going to be in that 4 column, and I get a 2, so that's 1/3. So for every 3 I have on the board, I have to remove 1. So I have 1, 2, 3. I'll remove Constantinople, but it's not catastrophic, and so I put my 1 there for the numbers killed. Okay, filaments get to go, and the filaments have they get 3 shots, and they need a 3 or less, and then they get 4 moves. So I think with my filaments, I'm going to try to move them to Western Europe as quickly as possible. Both cases, the filaments are blocked, so that's not so good. I think I'll go ahead and try Damascus. Let's see here. So I need a 3 or less, but I'm actually going to need a 4 because this guy is blocking it. So we'll roll once. No, I'm sorry, not a 4, a 2, because 3 minus 1 is 2, yeah. Doing basic math here. Well, I got my 1, so it doesn't matter. Okay, and we'll move a filament in. That was my 1. Okay. Try the same thing on Jerusalem. Actually, no, I'm going to move here. So here I do need a 3 or less. I got a 1, okay. I infect. And then here I'd need a 4 or less. And I got a 5, so that's nothing. Okay, now I've got 4 moves, and I'm going to move 1, 2, 3. I can't move any further. So, okay. And then we try to see what our mortality is. These guys have a mortality of 3, so I'm going to use the 3 column. I roll, and I get a 3 on a 3, 1 and 6, so I've only have 3 on the board, so it's not going to do anything. Okay. So that ends game turn 1. Things are changing a little bit. So basically, filaments in the game turn 2 will get to go first, followed by Coxeye, followed by rods. And at this point we roll for the chances to infect and for the moves. So we'll start with filaments again. And they get a 2 and a 6. So we definitely want to use the 6 to try to infect everybody. 2, 4, 6. And then they get 2 moves. We'll start by trying to infect Jerusalem. That would make life a little bit better here. I think I want to get this guy out of the way. So, in this case, I'm going to roll my virulence. I've got basically 6 chances, and I have to roll a virulence of 4 or less. So these guys can actually move a little faster now, because you basically shifted the chances over to here. Okay, so 4 or less, and I have let's see, 6. So we're going to start here with 1, and I get that. So he's, and that would have actually been a 3 or less I would have needed. Because I was doing against an enemy. I was basically trying to get an enemy. So that was 1 shot. We'll go here. And this point I would need a 3 or less. Or a 5 or less. I'm sorry, 5 or less, because I'm trying to... Alexandria has a +1. That's 2. I'm going to try to get this guy eliminated from down here. So it's a +1, -1, so it's going to be a 4 or less. With 3, I got a 1, so he's eliminated. And then here, I need a 5 or less. I got it. And whoops. I'll go to Tunis. And I need a 4 or less on Tunis. And I get a 6. And we'll try it again with a 1. So there we go. Okay. And that, I think, is all my shots. And then we're going to move. And I've got 2 moves. So I'm going to go... 1, 2. Try to get this guy on the board next turn. Okay. We roll for our on our DRT, and I'm going to roll a mortality. I've got a mortality of 3, and I get a 2. So 1/3 of the guys go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I remove 2 of them. I think I'll remove Athens. And I think I'll remove Athens and Cairo for 2. And then that's going to put me ahead 2 more shots here on the victory track. 2 million people perished. Okay, and that's going to be it for the all the phases of the filaments. Then goes next for the cocci. Now the cocci are actually looking kind of rough here. We'll roll, and I get a 2 and 6, so we're going to use 6 infection chances. 2, 4, 6, and then 2 moves. Basically, I think let's try to infect in this area here, and let's try Moscow first. I got 6 chances, and I need 3 or less to infect. Now, this guy's at +1, so +1 -1 is going to be a 3. Let me get my cocci guys here. So we'll start here with this right there, and I got a 6, so nothing. A 4, nothing. A 4, nothing. A 4, nothing. A 2. That'll finally get rid of him. And let's see, how many was that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I got 1 left. Yeah. Let's just go against right here. We'll stay in Moscow. And I got a 2. So yeah, I can infect here. Okay. Now, we roll for mortality. Or no, moves are next. I'll move him here. I got 1 move and 2 moves there. Actually, I'll stay put here. Okay. And let's check our death results table. Now, with a mortality of 4, I roll a mortality roll of 5. So 1 and 6, so that's going to be nothing. So they don't get any, they don't kill any population off, and they basically don't do anything. They don't have enough. Can't remove anything. Okay. End of turn for them. And next is going to be the rods. And the rods are going to play, let's see, we roll for them. Oh, 2 and 1. They don't get hardly nothing, so 2 shots and 1 move. Well, the only move we have is right here. So we're going to try to attempt to get Moscow. And I need a 1 or 2 would do the trick. That's the only thing that's going to do the trick, because they have a virulence of 2. They get the 1. Okay, so they got it. And they get one more shot. Let's go with Novgorod. 4, nothing. So that's it. And then movement, 1 move. I think I'll just stay put there. Not much else I can do. We roll for our, on the death results table, and we get a 6. So 1 and 6, that's going to be nothing. Okay, so that ends their turn. And actually, that ends everybody's turn. So now we can, it's pretty easy. We set our order of play for this turn. And we can start, the Coxeye will get to go first this time. And Coxeye are going to try to spread, let's see, what do the Coxeye got for? I'm going to play the traitor card. And so I get 1 extra chance. And let's roll it. I get a 3 and a 1. Okay, that works out pretty well. So that's a 4 and a 1. We'll start with Novgorod, and I need a 4 for Novgorod or less. I got a 5, so that's 1 shot. Try it again, and there's my second shot. And that's going to put a Coxeye on the board. Let's try Prague. And at this point, I'd need a 3. Actually, I think that should have been a 4. Oh, yeah, Virulence. This should have been a 4, so I'll just call it good, even though that they should have had 1 less. Okay, let's go with Prague. And again, we need a 3 or less. And I get a 6. Try it again. And I get a 4, so nothing. So that's going to be nothing here. Okay. And okay, the filaments will get a chance to go, so we'll start with their roll. And they get a 4 and a 1. And we'll give them a 4 chances to infect and 1 move. Like I said, I think we're going to try to spread quickly. So when we go, we're going to need a 4 or less. Let's see what card they have and see if that's something worth playing. Let's see here. Where's my filament? There we are. Okay, Crusade. That moves everybody closer to Jerusalem. Is that going to be worth? I don't think it's going to be worth it right now. I think, again, we can spread. I think the that'll be maybe more useful later in the game when everybody's spread out a little more. So we'll use our 4 chances to infect. And like I said, I'm going to try to go west. Let's see what we need. We need 4 or less. Let's keep spreading into these areas here, where basically where we can get the best bang for our money. We'll try to spread into Rome here, so I need a 4 or less to spread into Rome. There's 1. Nope, that's a 6. 2. There's a 1. We'll try to spread into Genoa with a 6. Nothing. A 4. I can spread into Genoa. And then finally, here, Venice, I need a, what did I need? I need a 4 or less. I need a 5 or less. So we get a 6, so nothing. Okay, make our moves. I've got 1 move. And I think I'll move into Marseille. Okay, and then we're going to roll for our mortality. And we're using the 3 column. So 6 with a 3 is a cure. Okay, so basically that means a removal of 1 and 6 by the next player. And those don't count towards your victory. So next player is going to be the rods. So the first thing they're going to do is remove 1 and 6. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I get to remove 1. I think I'll remove. Where am I going to remove that? I think I'll remove this guy. Well, here. Yeah, I don't know. With this game, I can't quite figure it out, so I haven't figured any. I mean, there's definitely a lot of strategy to this, but like I say, I haven't really quite figured it out yet. Okay, now it's time for the rods to go, and they get a 6 and a 6. 3 and 6 shots. Okay. I could be cruel and try to bring this guy back, or I could try to move through Northern Europe. We'll try it. Why not both? I got 6 and 6. Let's see if rods have a quarantine, which basically lets players not do a whole lot. So I think we're going to be good for. We'll save that. Rods are going to need a 1 or 2. So let's try Central Europe here, I guess. Let's start with Prague. And like I said, we need a 1 or 2. And I got a 2. Okay, so that works. Wait, no, I can't. I'm thinking of the cock's eye here. Okay, Kaffa. Novgorod. Let's go Novgorod. Okay, Novgorod is a +1, so I need a 1, 2, or 3, but there's somebody there, so I need a 1 or 2. So let's start with roll 1, and that was enough. Okay, so we can take him off the board. Let's just try that guy there, and I need a 1 or 2. A 1. Oh man, he's rolling good. Okay. Let's try Danzig. And this is going to be a -1, so I just need a 1. 3, 4, 5, 6. So none of those worked. Okay. So the rods were able to get there. Now, they roll for their mortality, and they have a mortality of 5, and we roll a 3, so 1/3. So one of these guys is gone. I'll take him off Novgorod. And that puts us ahead by 1. So see, they're getting the points. They don't spread very fast. Okay. And then we have 6 moves. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. That's all I can. And these guys can only move 1, so that's all they can move. Hold on. Can I do that? Nope, I can't move that. I'm sorry. Can't move 2. He can move there, and he can move there. That's all he can. Oh, well. That's all I could do. I could move there, but that's okay. So, okay. Yeah, I can't move 2 areas. Got to remember that. Okay. That's the end of the turn. So we see who goes first. Let's see. So basically it's going to go cock's eye, and then the filaments, and then the rods. So it's basically the same turn order. Okay, cock's eye will go. They don't have much on the board. And we roll. And a 1 and a 1. Well, they have even less now. Let's try to take out this. I guess I'll try to take Moscow there. And I've got a, let's see, I need a 3 or less. Yeah, here I've got a better chance of going here. Let's go to Warsaw. And I need a 3 or less, and I get a 1. So I make it to Warsaw. And 1 move. I don't think there's any move I'm going to try to make at this point. I've got 2 on the board, and I've got a mortality of 4. So let's roll our mortality roll. I get a 2, so 1 out of 3. There's not 3 on the board, so nothing there. So don't get any points. Okay, filaments get to go. they can actually do something. And they get a 4 and a 6, so we'll use our 6 for infection chances. And we'll use our 4 for our moves. And I need a 4 or less to move to some of these places. Now, basically I want to go anywhere where it's easy to get on. So let's see here. Where's our F? Okay. So let's start here in Venice. And it's 4 plus 1 or 5 or less. And so we get a 1, so I can go there. I'm going to try on Genoa. And I got a 6, so that's an automatic loss. Okay, try it again with Genoa. Got a 2. Going to go down here to Cairo. And Cairo's there. I got 2 more. Anybody else? Let's try Barcelona with a 6, so that's nothing. And try Barcelona again with a 3, so we got on there. Okay. Now then we can check our mortality, and we have a mortality of 3, and I roll a 3, so 3 and 3, 1 and 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, moves. I forgot my moves. Okay. 1 here, move. We'll move here 2, 3, 4, 5, or 4. There's 4 moves. Okay. Now this one is, let's roll. We rolled and we get a 1 and 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we removed 2. I think I'll remove Marseille and Rome. And we'll put those over here. And since we removed 2, I get 2 victory points, putting me at 4 million deaths. Okay. Now we go with our rods. And poor old rods get a 5 and a 5. And 5 moves. Okay, so let's start infecting. Might try to march into Western Europe here. I think that's going to be my strategy. So we'll start by well, let's try to take. I'll continue to try to take these guys out. We'll just fight that out. I need a 2. This is a -1, so we're going to go. We're going to go through here, and I need a 1 or 2. So I'm going to try this, and I get a 3. Try 2. So second one, I was able to get this guy out. I got a cat here that keeps wanting to get in my lap. So if you hear rustling around, he's been with me all day fighting. I keep trying to make these videos, and he keeps fighting me. Okay. 3. Let's go with Prague. And I made it. And then let's go with Vienna. Let's see. I've got 2 more. Vienna is a 3, so that's not going to be enough. Try Vienna again. I need a 1 or 2. No, okay. We roll for, we want to make moves. Yeah, I'll try to move. I got 5 moves, so I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And then we're going to try to see what we do for mortality. I roll a mortality, roll a 6, so that's 1 and 6, and I don't have 6 on the board. I have 5. Okay, and that's it for rods. And so that leaves us with Coxeye will go first, rods will go second, and filaments will go third. So we start with our Coxeye. We roll a 3 and a 1. Okay, so Moscow definitely is worth a shot, and we need a 4. And I got a 2, so that works. Bucharest looks pretty good, so I need a 3 or less. I got a 5, and I got a 4, so neither of those. So that's it for those guys. Moves, I can move here. That's open. I've got 3 on the board, and I have a mortality of 4, so we roll our mortality roll and get a 2, 1/3. So I can take one of these guys off. I'll take this guy, and I get a point. So we'll move Coxeye here. Okay, rods get to go again. 2 and a 6. We use our 6 for our chances. And we have 2 moves. So I think we'll try to go, let's go for the easy pickings here. And anything where I can roll a 2 or less. So let's start with Prague. 1, 2, so 2 attempts, and we got here. Let's go against Copenhagen. And 1, okay. Anybody else? Let's go against Vienna. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so our last one we got into Vienna. Okay. Whoops, we roll against mortality. And we have a mortality of 5, and I roll a 5, so 1 and 6. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So basically we remove 1 from the board, and let's take Lubeck off. And the cat's in the way of my screen here, so we get 1 here. Okay. And then the filaments get to go. Oh, moves. I want to make my moves. Again, we'll move west. And we're going to go 1, 2. That's all. Okay, 2 was, I think, all I had. So, okay, filaments go, and we roll a 2 and a 1. Not great for the filaments. Okay. Well, anywhere there's a +1, we'll go. So that'd be 5. So we need for our 2 rolls. And we get both of them. So we can pull filaments here and here. I was going to go with these 2 +1s down here. Again, I said it. I rolled before I said it, and I should have gone the other way around. So I apologize to you. I'm going to play the Crusade card. And the Crusade card means, let's see, all players must move at least 1 unit towards Jerusalem until the beginning of the next player's turn. Okay. So we'll have to remember that, but that's in effect. Okay, let's check for our mortality. We've got a mortality of 3, and we make a roll of 6, so it's going to be a 1 and 6. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we need to remove 2. So we'll remove 1 from here, and basically those guys that just infected we'll remove. I don't think I need to use the move yet, so we'll just leave that alone. Actually, I'll ignore my move. Okay, this puts us to 1, 2, and we get to draw a Black Death card for my here. And it is a mutation. Okay. Okay, that is the end of the turn. At this point, it's going to be the same turn order, and everybody's going to have to be heading to Jerusalem. So I think I'll just start that at the beginning of the I think it'll have to happen during the move. So okay, Coxeye are going to get poor Coxeye is just really struggling out here. Coxeye gets a 5 and a 6. Well, that's going to help. So 6 shots and then 5 moves. Not that they'll get. They won't have 5 units on the board. Like I said, I've got a cat here that's chasing the cubes across the table now. You can maybe hear him in the background. Okay, 6 shots. And I'm going to need a 3 or less. Here I need a 4 or less, so I'll start with there. And I got a 1, so there's my first shot. Down here at Bucharest, I need a 3 or less. Nothing. 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 There we go. And let's go with Kaffa. And I got a 3, so I was able to infect Kaffa. Again, I'm trying to move around that -1. Moves, I've got 6 moves, and I do have to move 1 unit towards Jerusalem, which would be this guy. Okay, now's a good chance to move across here. That gives me 2 options here. Oh, you can also use, I forgot, you can also move the other player's units. So I don't think they have to even be adjacent. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. Four. There. Okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and move him. Try to keep him from spreading too far. Yeah, I'd forgotten about that you can actually move the other players. So he's going to move Filament back. Okay, then we go for mortality rolls. And he's got a mortality of 4 with a 4. 1 and 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he doesn't have enough on the board, so he doesn't make any points. And that ends his turn. Okay. Now then, like I say, you can hear all the shenanigans going on back there. Rods get to go, and they get a 5 and a 3. A 5 and a 3, and so we're going to try to infect a little bit, wherever it's easiest to infect, I guess. So let's start here. Now I need a 1 or 2 will get me right through there. So I'm going to go 4, 5. Okay, that was all 5, wasn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that was all 5 rolls. So nothing. Didn't make any dent in anything. Now then, we have 3 moves. I've got to move 1 towards Jerusalem. And then I'm going to move... Western Europe gets a little harder. 1, 2... That's 2. Okay, that's all my moves. And then we try for mortality. And I roll a mortality roll of 1. Okay. Let's see, a mortality roll of 1 with a 5 is going to be 1/2 of these units are gone. So I've got to take, and anybody in a multi-area would be, I put a death's head down, but I don't. Everybody's in singled areas, so I don't have to put the death's head on them. But I do have to take off half. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that would be 3 that I have to remove from the map. So we'll remove 3. 1. 2. And, I guess 3. Okay. Tough choices. So 1, 2, 3, but it puts me in the lead, and I get another card. And it is fire. Okay. A fire card. Oops. What does a fire card do? Let's see if we can play it. Pestilence Cleansing Fire gets out of hand. Reduce a multi-square region by 1 square as if there has been a catastrophic kill. And 1 unit in that area may perish in the flames. This is a free kill. So basically I get a free kill on a multi... I have to have it in a multi-character. So I could use it over here against my enemies, but I really want to use it on my own so that I can get that free point. So I'll just leave it. Okay. So that ends the turn for rods, and then we go with filaments. And filaments are going to roll a 4 and a 5. So we're going to pull 5 for our 5 for our chances and 4 for our moves. And we're going to roll. Let's again start here, trying to get Genoa. Let's try Barcelona anyway. Okay, so let's start here. I need 5s here. I'm going to try this roll. And I got my 5. So come on, F. Okay, filament goes to Genoa. We try it again here, and Venice, and we get it. Okay. I'm going to try on Barcelona, and I need a 4 for Barcelona, and I get a 2. So here, on to Madrid, I need a 5. And I got a 2, so that works. And then Cairo. I got a 2, so there we go. I got 1 left. Let's go with Tunis. And I got a 2, so there we go on Tunis. Now, moves, I've got to move 1 person towards Jerusalem. It'll be right here. Okay, and then I can make my normal moves. Okay, I'm going to go here. 1, 2, and 3. There we go. And then we roll to see what our mortality is. We got a 4. And a 3 and a 4 is a 1 and 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So I've got 2 that I can remove. Actually, I think there's 16 there. So 2 I need to remove. Well, I'll remove him and him. And we can put that over here. Change that to an 8. Okay. And that ends the turn. So we can take the Crusade now off. So we'll put it up here. Okay. Next turn order. Looks like it's going to be Coxeye. Everybody's the same. So Coxeye get to go. And a 4 and a 4. Okay, Coxeye, poor Coxeye needs to, and they're just, let's try Kaffa and then Belgrade. It says Warsaw. I think that's Belgrade. That's not Warsaw. Warsaw's up here. Let's see where we can go. We've got 4 chances, so I've got those 3. I need to 3 or less, so let's try Kaffa first. Oh, Novgorod, I forgot it. Yeah, it's going to be our best chance, so we'll try Novgorod at, I need a 4 or less for that. So we're going to go with the first one. Whoops. We got a 1. Okay. That'll work. Okay. Let's go with Danzig. We'll go with Glenn there. And I got a 4. And that's not going to be enough. Try it again. A 6. Nope. And a 4. Nope. Okay. Movement. We're going to go 1. Those guys can stay. Those guys can stay. Let's I got 3 more moves. might be moving him here. 1. I'll move these guys 2, 3, and 4. I should have moved him onto the +1s because then that would slow him down just a little bit. I'm starting to see a strategy here. Okay, that's it for Coxeye got a mortality roll. And we roll a 5 on a 4, so 1 and 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hey, 6. I'll take myself out of Constantinople there and give myself a point. It helps. Okay, now rods get to go next. A 3 and a 6. So we'll use our 6. And a 3 for move. Okay, where are we going to go? Anywhere where it's easy. Let's try Copenhagen first. And I need a 2. And we'll go until we get that. So we're going to go 1. Oh, first time. Okay, let's try Lübeck, and we're going to try this one here on Lübeck. 2, and we got there too. Let's go with Prague. 3, nope. 4, yep. And let's see. Everybody. Okay, let's try Venice. 6, nope. And a 1. Okay, there's Venice. Now, I can use this as a... I'm going to go ahead and play that fire. Actually, first of all, I'm gonna roll for mortality. Or I've got to move and make my moves. We're going to go here. 1. I should have done Novgorod. 2, 3, and that's it. Let's see. Let's move. I'll move him back a little bit. Okay, there's it. Now then, I'm going to do my mortality roll, and then I'll use my fire card. So using my mortality roll, let's see. I've got a mortality of 5. We roll a 6, so 1 and 6. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to take out Vienna for a point, and then I'm going to use the fire to use this multi-area. And that removes 1, or does it remove 2? By 1 square, okay. So that gives me an extra point, putting me ahead. Okay, finally filaments get to go. And we roll a 5 and a 5. Okay, and now the issue with the filaments is they're going to run out of pieces here pretty quick. So let's start here with Madrid. I've got to roll a 4. I got to roll a 5 or less. So we got that. Gonna do Naples with a 3, so that gets Naples. We're gonna do Alexandria with a 6 and Alexandria with a 2. Got 1 left. Let's try Rome. And I get a 4. So yeah, that's going to be enough for Rome, I think. Yeah, 4. Movement. I'll move out of the +1s. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Now we roll to see what what our mortality is, and I got a 4. So 1 and 6. I remove 3. So I'm going to go 1, 2, and 3. Putting these guys back. And I'll take 3. I move ahead by 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's the end of turn. So in this case, we're again back to the same order of play. And also, Filaments went ahead. They passed the 10 mark, so they get a second. They get another Black Death marker. Or event card. That's what I'm trying to say. Let's see, event card. Come on. And it's quarantine. Okay. Now mutation, let's see what mutation means. For one turn only, player may alter the virulence or mortality of any disease by 1 point in either direction. Okay. Or swap up to 2 points between virulence and mortality ratings. Okay. Don't know if we'll need it or not, but we might if we get behind. Okay. We go to the Coxeye. And where are you at there? There you are, buddy. Okay, Coxeye rolls a 4 and a 4. So the Coxeye get to go. Where are we going to try to spread? I think we're going to again make the spreads around here. Novgorod, obviously. I need a 4 for Novgorod. I get a 3, so that'll count. Good. I got 3 more. Let's go Warsaw. 6 doesn't do it. 5 doesn't do it. And a 3 does it. Okay. And then we roll for our mortality roll, and we get a move. I forgot moves. Let's try that again. Okay, moves. I think I'm going to move 1, 2, 3, 4. There. Do a little blocking on the filament here, and then we roll for mortality. Let's do it again. 1. Okay, that'll help him a little bit. Got a mortality of 4 with a 1, as 1/2 of these guys are gone. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them, and I need to remove 3, and he has to come off 1, 2, and 3. Now it was a asterisk, so we put one of those there, and then I get 3, move ahead 3 here. 1, 2, 3, giving me another Black Death card. Which is Smugglers. Now, Smugglers let you move 2, I think. Moving fast, yeah. Player may move 2 regions this turn, but you don't get any additional movement points. You just get to move 2. I don't think you can move through other person's regions either, so. Okie doke. Next is going to be the Rods. And they get a 5 and a 1, so. Let's see. Rods are going to go. London looks pretty good. So we're going to go. Rods need a 3 to attack London. They get a 2, so there's our. Okay, we'll try for Paris. And I get a 1, so they succeed there. I'll try Brussels. I need a 2. It's a 6, so nothing. A 5, nothing. And a 3. Nothing. Yeah, nothing to get there. Okay. Moves. I got 1 move. I'll move out of London. And then we will roll for mortality. And I roll a 4, which is 1 out of 3. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I remove 2 of these. I think I'll remove Amsterdam. Now, I think I'll remove Paris, we definitely, and Dublin. Okay. And that gives me ahead by 2 points. And I get another card. And it's a pogrom. Okie doke. Next turn is going to be filaments. And the filaments get a 3 and 3. Okay, so I get 3 moves, and I get 3 attempts to attack. 3 attempts to attack. I guess that's what you call it. Let's see. Okay, those 3 are going to be important. So I need a 4 or less, and we're just going to go here with Cairo. We need a 5 there. Got it. We need a, let's just go Madrid. Got it. And finally, this is a 4 on Genoa, and I don't get it. So there's my 3 moves. We just really want to try to move everybody into the worst spots they can. So I got 3 moves, so there's 1, 2, and I don't know, 3. We'll try those 3. Okay. Now then we roll for our mortality, and we get a 2 with a mortality of 3, so 1 in 3. And I've got 18 on the board, I think, or do I have 17? Let me see if I got 17. So I can remove 2 of these guys. We'll remove him and him. And it gives me 2 victory points. Okay, whoops. And that ends the turn. So again, we're same order of play. Okay, going with the cock's eye. And we roll 3 and 5. So they got 5 chances. They got 3 moves. I think that one thing that would make this game a little more complicated, but might help us to have the move. You could use moves and infections interchangeably, but okay, cock's eye. We'll try. We need 3s or less for most places. Let's go with Danzig, from Novgorod to Danzig, and we're gonna try 1. Nope. 2. Nope. 3. Nope. 4. Nope. 5. Okay, we made one shot. To Danzig. Moves, I've got 3 moves. And we're going to move him to Naples. 1, 2. Can't move him anywhere. And back. Okay, we'll move there. 3. Okay, now we try for mortality, and we have a mortality of 4. I roll a 2, so 1/3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can remove 1, and we'll take him out of Danzig. Or no, I'm going to take Novgorod. And puts me ahead 1 more shot here. Okay. We go with the rods. And get a 4 and a 2. And let's see. We're going to try to infect here, here, 1, 2, 3, or yeah, let's start with trying Copenhagen. Okay, and I need a 2 or less. 1, 2. Okay, there's my second one. Was able to get a rod in. I thought I already played that fire one. I think I played that already. 3 on Prague. That's a 2. Okay. And we need a 4th one on, oh, everybody else is, oh, Dublin. Okay. No, I can go to Paris. Okay. That'll give me a 3, and I got a 5. Nothing. Okay. Moving, I want to move to most advantageous. I should have tried Novgorod again. We're going to go 1. And I've got a second one. Move him up to Novgorod. If I can't have it, he can't either. Okie doke. Mortality check. And I roll a 1. Ooh, and that's going to be half. And it's going to be half with an asterisk. So we're going to put this guy here and here. And let's see, we removed half. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I need to remove 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I get 4 points, which is pretty good. 1, 2, 3, and 4. I get another Black Death card, which is Bad Weather, which adds to my virulence by 1. So I'll use it next turn. It'd be nice if these cards had what they did on them, but that's okay. Okay. Okay, next in line is going to be the filaments, and 3 and 2. So 3 and 2. And remind me down below to look for the cube that the cat knocked on the ground. So you can put that in the comments. Actually, this will probably be several months after I make this video. Let's see, 3 and 2. Filaments. I got 3 guys left I can use. Let's go Bilbao. And I'm going to get a 1, so that works. Going up to London, and I need a 5. Got a 3, so that works. And then back to Paris, I need a 5, and that works. So, okay, movement. I got 2 moves, and we're going to move him to Danzig, and we'll move him to Prague. Okay. Oh, I should have moved out and got those +1s. That's okay. Now then, we can remove some guys. And let's see, mortality. I get a 1 for mortality roll, and I have a mortality of 3, so 1/3, and I get to 1 region has to be eliminated, or any place where I'm going to go 1/3 of 18 is going to be oh wow, that's going to be a lot. That's going to be a lot. That's going to be 6 pieces coming off. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And I have to put this guy. I think I took off 1 there and there, so bad time for the plague. And 6 points is going to take me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I get another Black Death card. And it's going to be Traitor, so I get 2 extra chances, so I'll try to use those next turn. Okay. Yeah, filaments are doing pretty well in this. Okay, we go to the next turn, and it's the same turn order. So poor old Coxeye, just kind of languishing. We get 6 and 5. Let's see, what does Coxeye have for smugglers? That lets me move 2. I don't know if that's going to do much good. And then 5. Basically, I can move through here, through Central Europe. I could move up here, but nobody's given me some +1, so I don't have a lot of those. Let's just try Vienna, and I need a 3 for Vienna, and I'll roll till I get a 3. 1. Okay, I got it. Okay, Budapest, let's do the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4. And let's try Belgrade, and a 2, so I was able to get into Belgrade. Okay. Movements, I've got 5 moves. We're going to just try to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Actually, no. 4, 5. There we go. I'll try to cover those so that he can't use those to his advantage. And then we roll for mortality. And we roll a 2, which is pretty good. Let's see, 2 for mortality 4, 1/3. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's going to be 2 that I remove. We're going to take 1 and 2. Gives me 2 points. And we put those 2 back. Okay. Next, rods are going to go. And anything with bad weather, I think I'll use the bad weather. The Pogrom, until the beginning of the next player's turn, any unit moving there is immediately eliminated. And it applies to its owner's body count. Oh, okay. I wonder if I can play that and move into it. I think I can. Okay. So we will, I'm going to play the Pogrom card. And where am I going to play that? Actually, I think I'm going to play it after. I'm going to play Bad Weather and Pogrom. So let's start with playing the Bad Weather card first. Let's roll 5 and 2. So that's going to be, Bad Weather is going to make it 6. 1, 2, 4, 6, and 2. And then we're going to play, let's try to infect some areas. Let's try Novgorod first. Let's see here. Oops, I lost my tracking chart. Here we go. Okay. Now rods need a 2. Let's go to Novgorod. I need a 3. I got a 5, so that doesn't count. Try it again. A 3 works. Okay. Let's try Lubeck. And you need a 2, 1, 2. There's our 2. Copenhagen. I need a 2. And I got a 1, so that works. And let's try Warsaw. I need a 2 for Warsaw, and I got it. Okay. Now then, if I play the Pogrom card, what I'm going to play it up here and on Stockholm. And then I'm going to move my 2 into here, 1 and 2. And that'll give me 2 points. And I can move these back to my... Yeah, there's a fair amount of strategy to this game. Okay, and then now we can roll for mortality. I got a 6, and with mortality 5, I was 1 and 6. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I can remove 1. I think I'll take it at Danzig. And that gives me another point. Okay. Filament goes. What do you have for cards, Filament? Traders, 2 extra chances, so we'll play that. I'll play that. I'll just play Filament right now. So we roll, and I get a 3 and 6. So I have an 8, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 3 moves. So pretty easily, I think the filament only has 6 pieces here. So okay, where are you going to go, Filament? Let's just work our way across the map here. Let's start down here at Cairo, and I need a 4 or less. I got it. There's 1. Let's try Alexandria. Nope. Try again. There. Yep. Let's go to Constantinople. 4. Yep. Let's go with Athens. Okay. Let's go with Rome. Got it. Let's go with Genoa. Got it. Okay. So I won't need the next one. And then we can move. Moving, I will go with 1, 2. Wait, no. 1, 2, 3. No. 3. 4. 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Or no. 5. Let's go back. Yeah. There. That's all the further he can go with his roll. Okay, I think that's it for Filament. Now we check for mortality. Filament has a mortality of 3. We roll a 5, which is a 1 and 6. Okay, and so that's going to be 3 that I take off. 1, 2, and 3. Goes back to Filament's turn. And they get 3 points. And that is the game. So basically Filament won. Is that a rickettsia or something? It looks kind of like. So, okay, that's what I got. Anyway, I think this is actually, like I say, some of these little print and play games are really cool. And this is probably one of them. I think this is a really well done little game. I think it has a certain degree of luck, but it leaves a lot of strategy to it, which I can't see here between playing the extra event cards and using the regions to your advantage. I think there's some real strategy here. I think that Greg Porter did a great job with it. So anyway, that's what I got for the week. I sure appreciate you guys watching, and we will talk to you later. Bye.